by Robin Gwaltney. Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning, Andy Brownell with News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM, along with Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. It's Saturday again and time to talk about Rochester real estate. Good morning, Robin.
Hey, good morning.
So, I was looking over the report you always give me.
Okay,
once
wait,
a month.
Stop. Are you sure you want to talk about real estate? You don't want to talk about the election? Oh,
I was
be
hoping
done
we could
with
just
it.
skip by that and just pretend.
Okay, we can talk about the weather. The weather's awesome.
It is right now. You're correct.
Yeah, we might as well enjoy it while it lasts. We got a couple more days.
Yep, we do have a couple days. Yep.
All right, we'll talk about real estate. I'm good with that.
It's positive stuff I'm seeing here, at least.
Oh,
You
yeah,
sent me
lots
the
of
report.
positive stuff.
Your monthly report came, and I was kind of perusing it.
Great.
And from the things that you have taught me over the past year or so about ratios, it shows, you tell me if I'm reading it right, it shows a very active and healthy market.
Absolutely. As of today, we have 257 sales pending, and we've got another 239 listings still available to sell. So, I mean, we definitely still have a high demand, and things are selling pretty darn quickly.
Yeah, what I see, the average days on market are just like barely over a month, and that's all of the properties, right?
That's all of the properties. So if you're looking like specifically at the, what we call the sad but affordable price range, 200 to 3 or 200 to 350, where most of our buyers are approved, that's like average of 14 days on the market. And those houses are still selling, if you noticed, for 102% of the list price.
So you're going to get what you ask for as long as your
price right.
Yeah, price.
As long as your price right. Yep.
If you're asking
absolutely.
too much, you're probably going to wait a while.
Yep. And the nice thing is it's not like a normal market where if you're asking too much, you're still going to have to wait a long time, because what's going to happen is people are just going to say, all right, hasn't sold after 10 days. Clearly it's overpriced, so the offers are going to just start coming in lower than the asking price. And then, of course, the seller's going to dig their heels in and say, everybody else is selling what they're asking. And that's when their agent is going to have that hard talk with them saying, because we started too high. And so that's what's going on.
So that's why it's really important to get the advice of an experienced realtor.
Well, it's so important because if it's priced right from the get-go, that's when you're going to get your absolute best price. I mean, people are going to end up fighting for it. We keep saying low demand, low demand, low demand. Right now we have 1 month absorption rate. And you know as well as I do what that means. If no other houses came on the market, we would be completely out of homes to sell in 1 month.
That just seems crazy when you say it that way.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I know it doesn't feel like it outside this week, but it is November. And usually at this time of the year, we're starting to talk about it'll quiet down a little bit for winter, and then we'll pick up again in February. No. We're not going to have any of that. It's not going to quiet down this winter. So if anybody out there is listening and they're wondering, should I wait till spring? No need to wait until spring.
So the market pressures that we saw shape up in the late summer, you're saying that we're going to continue to see that same kind of market pressure going into the winter months.
Absolutely. And it's not just me saying it. I mean, all these numbers in this report, things are selling on the average, 14 days on the market, and this is fall. Now, this isn't spring, right? And on the average, things are selling at 100.2 or 100.4%, whatever I said it was, of the list price. So this is, numbers are indicating that it is still a sizzling hot market.
Wow. It's funny, you earlier mentioned with a kind of a groan, the $200,000 to $300,000 price range being considered the affordable price range. But I was, earlier this week, I had this thought pop into my head about the price of vehicles.
Yeah.
And I go back to 30 years ago, what I would have to have paid for a brand new vehicle.
Isn't it crazy?
Well, it's actually gone up faster than the price of the houses.
Right. And they don't hold their value like a house does, as we all know. But it's not even that. It's the price of everything, you know. Like my parents, they're 82 and 85. We'll go to eat, and my dad will be like, unreal, $10 for a hamburger. I just can't believe it. I remember when a hamburger was $1.25. Well, Dad, you know, everything's changed, right? Our incomes have gone up. I mean, everything has changed. And he says, yeah, I suppose when you look at it that way and you put it all in perspective. But, you know, Andy, you and I have spoke in the past about, even though the prices have gone up a lot, you know, we're talking about what you paid for your starter home and then took into consideration the interest rate that you had to pay versus now a much higher price tag with a much lower interest rate, but that buyer has a much higher salary. They're probably in better shape. It's probably a more favorable deal for them now than it was for you when you bought your first house.
I know it is, for sure.
Yeah.
And we always look at that as the good old days.
Yeah, exactly. Let's face it, every day's a good day.
Well, there you go. When you put it in perspective like that.
Right.
Yeah, I know for sure. If you look at what I paid for my monthly payment for that 30-year mortgage and put that and applied it today at their interest rates today, I would have got a lot more house. And
especially when you think about what you paid per month in comparison to what you earned per month.
Yeah, that's another.
You know, so I mean, even though people say, I don't even know how young people can afford houses today, it's like, it really hasn't changed. And if it has, it might be in their favor.
Yeah, if you actually delve into the numbers, I think you're right.
Right, yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, I mean, clearly, things are still going great. And, you know, I think last week I talked to you about some of the new listings I had. I know I talked to you about the one I had over on 26th Street. And I was encouraging everybody to go see Sherry at her open house, and they did, because she had 30 people through.
Fantastic.
And that one is gone, sold, done. So, and we had another one that we had listed last week that sold as well in that price range. So, I mean, they are still coming on, but when they come on, don't hesitate, because they're going fast.
Well, the message that you said earlier about looking at the market, if you're thinking about buying, don't hesitate. The same thing goes for the selling side of it, too.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. And you know, sometimes people are still, they've heard it over and over and over that, oh, we live in Minnesota, you don't want to put your house on the market in the winter. All bets are off this year, because we need the inventory and the buyers are out there in full forces.
It's 2020. Everything is upside down.
Everything is crazy. Yes, absolutely.
So, and this report you have that I received, it shows just over 1,400 properties sold closed in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
That's comparable to last year, isn't it? I remember correctly?
I think it's actually just a little bit higher. And, you know, it's funny because one of the things I saw, it was an article that I read about the refinancing is up like 66%, but home loans were down by 1%. And it's not because people don't want to buy. It's because they're having a hard time finding something to buy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need those houses for sure, and they're selling, and it's a great time to be a seller because, you know, as long as it can appraise for what you're selling it for, you're going to get what you're asking, no doubt about it, or maybe even more.
And those of us who are homeowners or getting into this, it's kind of reassuring to see that your investment is gaining in value.
Isn't that the truth? And it's just constantly going up. I mean, and people think, oh gosh, that's scary, because if it keeps going up, you know, pretty soon we're going to price ourselves right out of the market. We're not going to be able to afford it. But with the rates so low, and you know, people ask me every day, how is election going to affect the interest rates? It isn't. The bottom line is the feds understand that those rates are going to need to be low at least throughout 2021, and most of the predictions that I read are well into 2022. So it's going to last a while, but it's not going to last forever. So take it seriously, take advantage of it, and become a homeowner if you're not already one.
All right, we're talking with Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results, and we're going to be right back after this quick break on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Would you get on an airplane if you...
Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back. I'm Andy Brownell. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results with us this morning on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Of course, talking real estate. And I still can't get over that there was over 1,400 closings in just the past 6 months.
Yeah, and I think that number isn't going to slow down. I think, 6 months from now when we're looking back, it's going to be, what? We sold that many houses over the winter months? Because I really don't see, I just don't see seeing it change. I mean, let's face it, if we have a blizzard or we have some super sub-zero weather, we might have a few quiet days. Or, when it's actually the week of Christmas, we might have a few quiet days. But I really think it's going to continue to be a productive sales winter season. I'm super excited about it. And you know what makes me even more excited?
What's that?
Who's selling these houses. So, I love the data. I'm all about the data. I like to go into a customer's house and know what I'm talking about. I like to feel confident that I'm an expert in my area, in my field, right? So I'm constantly reading and I'm constantly studying, and I know the numbers, and I know the, median sales price, and I know how many days it takes to sell a house, and I know who's selling them. And I am proud to tell you that of all those sales we've been talking about, it's probably not fair for me to list the rest of the companies, but I am happy to tell you that RE/MAX has sold just about half of them. 787 houses sold in the past 10 months.
Wow.
By RE/MAX results. So yeah, and then I will say that the second company, and I won't mention names, is just about half of what we sold, and then the third company is just about half of what they sold, and the fourth company is just about half of what they sold. So it goes down, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 all sold fewer than 100 company-wide. So RE/MAX Results is getting it done for you, people.
That's a pretty good thing to have bragging rights for.
It really is, and I'm proud of it. I mean, if you haven't noticed, I'm super proud of our brand, our company, everything we do to offer. And I'm not just talking about Gwaltney Group. Of course, I'm extremely proud of Gwaltney Group and the customer service that we deliver, but the whole RE/MAX Results brand it's just an amazing company to work for, and I love the way we take care of our customers.
So, looking at this report, and you always tell me to look for balance in these numbers.
Yes.
Is the active pending thing, what is it's pretty balanced there too.
It is. And so, if it's a really high number, like it's 81% or something like that, that's like those miserable days where you're going to be one of 11 offers or one of 12 offers. We're like hovering at the 51%, which means if you put your house on the market and you have it sold, you have it priced right, you're going to sell it quickly. And I tell people, expect an offer in the first week. And it's, we say 14 days on the market, but there's some days for the inspection and whatnot. So I'm still telling people, when you call me over here and you're ready to put that for sale sign in the yard, you better be ready to be out of this house in, 30 to 45 days from now.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, both for the buyer and the seller in that way.
Right. It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
You're not going to spend a ton of time on this process. It's going to happen.
Right. And some people are like, oh, I'm going to need more time than that. No, Willie, we can help you figure this out. We got to keep it moving, and especially because then when they're going to find something to buy, when we find it, we have to jump on it. We have to be able to get it. Otherwise, they're going to end up with no place to go and their house sold. And people worry about that. And I get calls about that all the time. They say, now, how exactly is this going to work if we list the house with you, but we have to find something to buy? What if we sell it before we find something? I'm like, it's a balance, because sometimes people have to have the house sold to get the financing to buy the second one. But it's nice when people have lived in their house a long time and they're like going to a townhome now. Even though they want to have their house sold because they don't want to worry about two properties, they don't have to. They can do a bridge loan and use the equity that they have in their home, close on the first house, and then shortly after close on the one they're selling. So it makes the whole transition go really smoothly.
And imagine with the way the interest rates are, those bridge loans are next to nothing.
Right. It's a really affordable way to go. It's less
so short term.
Right, and it's a lot less like closing costs than you would think about for a mortgage. I mean, I've run into customers where they've been advised that they need to get a mortgage, and I'm like, wait, did you owe any money on this house? No. Are you planning? Well, yeah, we would just pay the mortgage off with no penalty. I'm like, no. You're not going to spend all those fees to originate that loan and just to turn around and pay it off in 60 days. That's crazy. So again, you really want to know how the whole thing is going to play out and just exactly what you need to know to make sure it all goes really smoothly.
And I know from talking to, about this affordable housing issue that a big part of that is, I think they'll call it churn in the market.
Right.
Where folks like me, a little bit older, start to move on to, as you pointed out, the townhome or whatever a different setting it would be that would free up that inventory for the younger buyers to come in.
Exactly. And so when you go to move, you're going to be like, okay, Robin, I don't want to be in a position where I want to write a contingent offer on the sale of my home because I certainly know I'm not going to stand a chance of getting it if I'm up against somebody who has a non-contingent offer. I mean, right? You want the strongest offer you can buy. Right. So then you say, what am I going to do? Do I have to get a mortgage on that house? And then I'm going to say, Andy, if you're planning on buying it with the proceeds from what you're selling, I'll hook you up with a lender and you'll talk to them. And I know which ones are great at this, and they'll talk you through it and say, we'll just give you the loan based on the equity you have in the home you're selling. We'll let you close on that one so you can get moved in, and then you can get this one ready for the market and get it sold.
And take a lot of stress away from the entire situation.
Take so much stress away. Because when you have 35 or 40 years worth of stuff in a house, it's not a weekend job. It's really not.
All right.
So, yeah.
So this is why we call you, Robin. You have all these options for us. And we're going to continue talking with Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results in just a moment on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Looking for a natural deodorant that doesn't stink?
With Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back. Andy Brownell with Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. I know, Robin, we've talked about people looking for the bigger homes. And, well, because of the COVID situation and needing studying space and home offices and all the different things that go into that working from home, do you pay a higher interest rate when you go to a bigger house, or it doesn't matter?
Well, depending on how much you're going to borrow, but there is such a thing as a jumbo loan. So if you're borrowing more than $550,000, then it's a different interest rate. And I will tell you, when actually a lot has changed since I started real estate. A jumbo loan then was in the 300s, and then it's gone up into the 400s and now 550. So it's all relative, right? But it used to be that there were a couple percentage points difference between a conventional loan and a jumbo loan. And now I'm reading that the jumbo rates have also hit record lows, and they've been hovering right around 3%. So when you're borrowing over $550,000 and still paying relatively, 3%, a little bit above it, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's unimaginable that interest rates are that low.
And I tell people, so if you were thinking like, okay, I recently finished my residency. I just, offered a position on staff. Maybe 5 years from now, we'll sell the house that we lived in throughout the residency and buy our big dream house. think seriously about that, because first of all, the house you're living in, you're going to sell it for more money now than you could have ever sold it in the past. And maybe that's going to be the case 5 years from now, but I can't promise that. Okay? I know that right now you're getting top dollar. And then you take that and you couple that with the fact that you're going to get those rates at 3%. Now you can buy a house that you thought was unattainable, and you might be spending another, I don't know, a couple $100 a month for your payment, depending on where you're sitting right now with your interest rate.
Sure. It's worth a discussion for sure.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I would like to say, is that if you're curious, if you think, how do I even start? I always say, call me up, let me come over, take a look at your house, give you an idea what you could sell it for, which is sometimes shocking to people. And then after you have that number in your head, I'm happy to, if you don't already have a relationship with a lender, I'm happy to introduce you to one so they can talk to you and tell you how that would play out, in dollars and cents.
Yeah, lay all the options out on the table so you can make an informed decision on where you're going. And you mentioned what you sell your house for. I have that app that.
Oh yeah, that I set you up with. Yay!
I get the emails, and every single month my house is worth more.
Isn't it great? Yeah, it's just awesome. So it's HomeSnap. So if anybody wants to be set up with that, I'm happy to do that. It actually gives you a lot of really good information. Like, if I were to rent my house, what could I rent it for per month? Or, my interest rate is at this right now. This is how much I owe on the loan. If I were to refinance, what could I say? I mean, it's a very, very useful tool.
It is.
And it's free. Free.
That's the best part. I always like that. So one thing that, we've touched on is, the new home market, the construction market is still struggling, and it kind of took a hit this year because of COVID and the weird twist, the unexpected twist it did for demand for lumber.
Right.
Plus, combined with the producers guessing wrong.
Correct.
And lowering their production. That can't last forever, right? I mean, and it is being forecasted that there is some relief in the future. Now, I'm not talking about next week or next month, but next year, maybe the spring, maybe the summer, but prices should start to level out again, because things went a little crazy. The average cost of a new home went up by, I think, on the average of $16,000 for the same new house that you would have had before the lumber prices went up. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's not just a few $1,000s. And actually, in one article that I read, it said that 42% of builders in this past October, when they were interviewed, said that most of their homes are not appraising out because they're not increased in value from an appraiser's standpoint. The things they look at are square footage, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms. They don't look at the price of the lumber.
Oh, I never even thought of that part of it.
Yeah, so it caused a little problem as well.
I imagine it did when you came time to close and you couldn't get the appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So, not fun.
You talk about the impact. I actually know somebody who, a strange twist of events, but they went to build a deck, and then they had trouble with the permitting process, so they had already purchased the lumber, and it sat in their yard waiting for the permitting process to occur.
Yeah.
And this whole lumber increase happened while that occurred, so when it finally came time to move forward, somebody checked, and the same deck would have gone up, I think it was $3,000.
Isn't that something?
That's 8 weeks.
That's real money. Big money. So it's a real thing, and I'm glad that they are seeing some relief in the future. But then, of course, they're saying in the same article that the problem we're going to have is shortage of land or really high priced land. But you know what, Andy? It always works out.
Well, what popped in my head when you were saying that was, it's almost like when it's come time to have a family. There's
yes.
Wait.
Right. You're like, okay, when I have all my bills paid and I don't owe anybody any money, well, it's not going to be good to start having kids when you're 50. So bottom line is there's no better time than the present.
Yeah, and considering the interest rate part of it, that's probably
Right.
of all the different factors we talk about, the one that's going to have the lasting impact on your lifestyle as far as purchasing the house is that interest rate. And this is crazy what we're paying.
It's absolutely the true. And, there used to be certain young families that would have a huge advantage over others because they might have parents that had a lot of money that would buy the house and then sell that to them at, a very, very low interest rate or maybe even free. Well, geez, now you can go to the bank and get a very, very low interest rate and almost free. Yeah, it's like crazy. But I have a couple listings that I would like to talk about that are some hot new ones.
Okay, let's do that.
All right. So at 1865 22nd Street, Northwest Rochester, we just put a ranch-style house on the market. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 2-car garage, built in 1962. That was a very good year. And that one is listed for $229,900.
All right, that's Hilton Hills, right?
It is over by the Gage on the Gage School side. All right, and then we've got one coming Monday out in Byron, and everybody loves the Byron schools. We hear that all the time. I want Byron. I want my kids to go to Byron schools. So here's your chance. 304 8th Avenue, Northwest Byron, 4-bed, 2-bath ranch, built in 1994, 1,440 finished square feet. So lower level still could be finished. $234,900.
Nice.
Very affordable. And I have one other one that's in that price range. I'm super excited about this house. Now, this one's in Lake City, so if you want to live in Rochester or close to Rochester, it's a good 35-minute drive over to Lake City. But if you're working from home and you think, oh, small town, sounds great, we've got 414 South 6th Street, Lake City. And this is an older 2-story. It's 4-bedroom, 3-bath with a 3-car garage. And one of the stalls on the garage is an RV stall.
Wow.
And then there is a man cave built up above the garage. And there's actually a complete apartment in the lower level of this house. And it's $239,900.
Wow.
I know. So here's one more, and these are the 4 that this one maybe not, but those 3 I expect to be sold by the time we talk next. This one is also a beauty of a house, 470 12th Street Northwest out in Byron. It's a little higher, but it's $489,900. It is a 5-bed, 4-bath, 3-car garage, built in 2015. Nice ranch-style house, great curb appeal. So again, it's less than $500,000, $489,900. So if any of those houses interest you, or if there's something else that you're specifically looking for, we'd love to help you.
Well, you better give us that phone number then, Robin.
All right.
How do we get a hold of you?
Call me on my cell phone, 507-259-4926.
Fantastic. So check out the website, give Robin a call, and we'll talk again next week.
That sounds great. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Mayo Clinic Radio on the House.